Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This is the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, 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 way down in the back.
T.A.
No, this is not. That's
We are live. Thursday night edition of Tigers Avenue. Welcome in, guys. I see your comments already. RP's in here. Ryan's in here. What up, TA family? What up? Let's see. Oh, of course, Ryan. Good evening, Passa Reagan. And brother.
Why do I get called Tebow? Why do I get called
They
Tebow?
say you look like Doctor Strange and Tim Tebow combined. That's what they're saying.
I don't. Yeah.
Maybe it's the goatee. I don't know. Maybe it's the goatee.
It definitely is a good Doctor Strange. I don't get the Tim.
Yeah.
Tebow. Oh, it's the fade. It was when I had the.
Maybe it's the fade. Yeah, but he definitely built like Tim Tebow. That's for sure. But that's okay. I'm not either. It's okay.
I'm built like Tim Tebow. Oh, you said
I said
built like
not built like
no.
Tim Tebow. All right, guys, we got a great show for you. Obviously, we're going to discuss this upcoming weekend's match against the Ole Miss. Who knows what they are, Zach? I don't think they've ever decided. Maybe they're the Black Bears, the Land Sharks, the Rebels. They will always be the Rebels to me. I mean, they just always will be.
They're the Rebels.
The I never understood the black bear, and the land shark mascot looks really, really, really weird to me. That's just my opinion. Bring Colonel Reb back. No,
we can't.
No. Bring Colonel Reb back. I want Colonel Reb back. So for all you Ole Miss fans, I know you'll be happy with me saying that. I know that's y'all's preference. All right, Zach. We need to discuss the preview. We'll give you our tools for triumph, whatever that is. Tools for success, tools for triumph. Are we in? Are we here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm lagging a little bit. I'm sorry. Sorry. Our TA's tools for triumph, and then we'll give you a little around the horn college football. We'll give you.
Oh, we just lose Reagan. Okay. I guess we did just lose him. All right, let me go ahead and bring Dawson and Jesse in. What's up, guys?
What up?
What's up?
I think we lost Reagan. He's bounced.
Yeah, he's gone.
How y'all doing?
Good.
So how y'all feeling about this Saturday so far?
Go ahead, Dawson.
Dawson, you go first.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be a big matchup. Wish it had a little more meaning behind it, but the Rebels couldn't clutch up in Tuscaloosa last week, even though they gave us every opportunity to do so. But I think Oxford will be rocking. It always is when LSU comes to town. I think it's going to be a good time. So
I was a little. I gotta be honest. I was a little shocked. And it wasn't as competitive as I thought it would be with Ole Miss, but I can't say I'm like super surprised because it is Bama. And it feels like every time we count Bama out, they always end up being Bama. But I definitely was a little surprised about how, I guess, ineffective Ole Miss's offense was against Bama. I mean, I knew that y'all had the issues with the offline, but I still think y'all be able to score more than y'all did. So anyway, Jesse, what do you think so far? I mean, heading into the LSU game and coming out of the Bama game, what do you think is the biggest issue that the Rebels need to correct?
We have to get the running game going. We simply can't run the ball right now. So not really open up the passing game either when you can't run the ball. So like against Alabama, we tried to take a deep shot and just got picked off. And I mean, you can't set up those deep shots if you can't run the ball. So we got to start with that.
And it seems like Quinshawn's been kind of non-existent so far early on in the season, and I was one of the guys that was like really, really high on Quinshawn. Do y'all think it's just that the performance from Quinshawn so far this season is simply because of the ineffectiveness of the offensive line, or do you think there's a little bit lacking from as well? Dawson, you can take this one.
I think it definitely has to do with a little bit of the offensive line, but it seems like it's a scheme issue because I don't know what exactly they're running, but we returned 3 out of the 5 starters on the offensive line, almost the entire right side. And, I mean, the guys aren't just going to get worse in a year. It seems to be Bentley's getting plenty of yards and does some good carries outside of the tackles, but we just can't go in between the tackles. So Jesse might be able to give us a little more. He was a former offensive lineman, so he may see some things that I don't see.
I think.
Yeah, what you got, Jesse? What's your opinion on that?
So first couple games, Quinshawn was playing hurt, and I think he was still playing hurt last weekend. That's part of the issue, but I think a lot of stuff we're running now is just like RPO based instead of just straight up. Just this is a run, so like you can't get the blocking depth. You can't get downfield as an offensive lineman if it's an RPO, as you would if you were just blocking a normal power zone run. So you can't get up to that second level. And when you don't pose a threat to throw behind that second level, they're just going to play up in the box the whole game. So it's part of the issue there.
I want to get y'all's opinion because obviously as LSU fans and, you know, we follow our team, the other team, but obviously y'all follow y'all team as, you know, closer than any other team. So y'all are watching them every week. Y'all know their strengths, their weaknesses. I'll start with Jesse and then we'll go to Dawson. What would you say is their strength? Where they're going to LSU, and if they're going to attack LSU, where are they going to find success?
On offense, I think if we can get some of our receivers back healthy and get the running game going a little bit, you got Jackson Dart. I think he could be a really big weapon for us if we can get everything going. We just got to get in rhythm. Can't have a dumb 75-yard interception or 60-yard interception that he threw into triple coverage. You just got to. I mean, he's really coming on. You got to eliminate some of that stuff. But
Dawson,
also,
go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Also on defense, we just need to get Perkins more playing time. He's our best defensive player and can't keep him on the field.
Yeah, I saw that last week. So apparently, both of our teams have really good defensive players that last name Perkins, and they both wear number 4. I was like, wait a minute.
Yep.
I was like, is this like some deja vu going on here? So, y'all tell me more about this. What's his first name?
Suntarine.
So Suntarine Perkins.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what? So tell me more about this Suntarine Perkins, because I was watching y'all's game against Bama, and he seemed like he was definitely y'all's most versatile and most impactful player on defense.
Yeah, so they line him up very similar to Harold Perkins, and Kiffin said all like after the Bama game that was kind of the idea. If you remember last year, Harold Perkins' coming out game was basically Ole Miss. I mean, he just harassed us in Baton Rouge. So they kind of line him up the same way and just let him get after the passer. Last week was his biggest week because with Milroe, they just put him in as a spy the whole week. He actually – was it Tulane, Jesse? He didn't even play maybe like 5 or 10 snaps.
He just played, mainly special teams. I think part of the thing is they're kind of using him how y'all use Harold Perkins. He comes off the edge sometimes. Sometimes he's standing up in the middle as a middle linebacker. He can even in like a heavy set flex out to sort of like a slot corner type deal where he's just playing the flat zones. So I think they're trying to kind of get him acclimated. But he's our best player on defense, and you got to get him on the field.
Yeah, big-time recruit. He was a 5-star out of Mississippi, our top recruit. He was basically a Bama lock is what it seemed like. And then Pete Golding said, follow me to Ole Miss, basically. So,
Reagan, we lost you there for a little bit, but you're back.
Yeah, I mean, are we good? Am I in here? solid. Everybody can
You're
hear
in
me.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have the full capabilities, but at least you're in here.
Yeah, my computer totally just completely locked up on me. Don't know what happened. I have no idea. But we will figure it out. We'll move forward here. All right. So obviously y'all are talking about Ole Miss on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe I can pick up here in the conversation. I mean, y'all are talking about Perkins being y'all's best player. And yes, Zach even alluded to it, feeling like some deja vu. I mean, he's out there wearing 4. He's got the dreads, and it looked like Harold Perkins out there. And he definitely looks like y'all's best player. But, I mean, last week, I feel like the defense played good enough to beat Alabama. And surprisingly, to me at least, it surprised me that the offense wasn't doing and executing the way they needed to win the game last week. I mean, what went wrong there offensively? I mean, what was the struggle there? And I guess we can start with Jesse on this. But why was the offense not able to do anything after essentially that one drive that kind of started the game off?
If you can't run the ball on Bama, they're going to make you one-dimensional, just like LSU will. So if your only success is through the passing game, you'll see it. You'll get the touchdown right off the bat. You get the first 2 drives. Then after that, they adjust. You still can't run the ball, and you're just dead in the water for the rest of the game.
What were your thoughts on it, Dawson?
Yeah, I second Jesse on that with the run, and then we just weren't able to get any rhythm going. I mean, we started the second half with 4 3-and-outs, and our offense moved so quickly. It's just there's no rhythm there, and I think that's a big reason why you saw some balls go over our head on the defensive side of the ball in the second half. They were gassed because they're on and off the field. I mean, they played so much in the second half. And
there was one particular play call. Dawson probably know what I'm talking about, where we're finally moving the ball for a little bit. Like it's maybe our 3rd, 4th drive. 3 and out. We get 3 and out the previous 2 drives or so. We finally get a little rhythm going. It's like 3rd and short, and we run like a gimmick jet sweep and lose 7 or 8 yards instead of just getting the easy first. It's out of rhythm, and then we just from there couldn't do anything the rest of the day.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, again, it really surprised me that the offense was struggling the way it was, and I don't know if y'all discussed this yet or not. And to y'all's point, the run game just hasn't felt like it's been there all year. I mean, it felt like Quinshon Judkins, after the freshman season that he had, was going to be poised for, I mean, a season to be the best running back in the SEC, and we haven't seen it yet. So. What is the contributing factor there? I mean, is it a lack of, the combo between Zach Evans and Judkins last year? Is the offensive line? Because, I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of it is the offensive line. I really don't think it's on Judkins that much. But what are your thoughts on Judkins not really seeming to be able to get going so far? And Dawson, you can kind of lead off there.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit while you went out. But like Jesse said, we're just not able to get a good push and get to the second level. And after you said that, I started thinking, but back to the Tulane game, it felt like I think Reagan just dropped on us again.
All good. We'll keep rolling.
Anyway, yeah, I just feel like Jesse is like if you remember in the Tulane game, I feel like the backers for Tulane were making and the safeties coming down here were making all the plays. And we would if we got a gain, it was 1 to 2 yards. I think that's really an issue getting to the second level.
Yeah, he's getting hit in the backfield a lot of time, and he doesn't have the speed necessarily breakaway speed that Bentley possesses. That Bentley can kind of outrun that kind of some of these linebackers that are getting in the backfield. Bentley can make a move on them, and that's why he looks like he's the better back right now.
So obviously we discussed a lot of the Bama game. We need to get more to LSU. I mean, we obviously know that the struggles have been there. I still believe that Lane is going to at least try to stick to a run game and try to establish it early on. I'm interested to see how the defensive line for LSU does because I fully believe he is going to initially still try to run the ball. LSU hasn't done the greatest. You know, we talk about our defensive line a lot, and I feel like we have a pretty good, you know, stable of guys there, and we have depth there. But as far as, I mean, when you look at the stats in the SEC, LSU is good when it comes to stopping the run, and they haven't been good necessarily at getting to the quarterback. Now, they have been better in the past couple of weeks. They did pretty good against better Arkansas. But for me, and I've stated this with Reagan, and I think I've stated with this all at work, LSU has got to be able, and this has been my biggest point for LSU, the LSU defense, because we obviously know about the struggles in the secondary. It's not necessarily something that you can fix because really personnel issue with the LSU secondary. They've had to play a lot of catch up because in 2020 and 2021, they were hit so hard with guys leaving the program, not even just graduating, but guys transferring, leaving out, that they've had to play a lot of catch up in the past 2 years in the secondary. And it's just not been what we've been used to in the secondary, as you know, LSU has been coined DBU. So coming in this year, we knew it was going to be a weakness. It has been a weakness. And so the greatest thing that I've been saying for LSU defensively is you've got to be able to get to the quarterback. You have got to be able to put pressure on him. You've got to force him to make throws in tight windows, and you have to keep him bottled up. And the thing that KJ did really well last week was, even though a lot of pressure, he was able to out of the pocket, buy time, keep his eye on field, and make throws whenever those DBs let up. He also made plays with his feet. I think about the very first drive, or maybe it was the second drive, sorry. First drive, they're in out. Second drive, we have him in a 3rd and long situation. We break contain, and he scrambles for a really long gain. So one of the biggest things I'm worried about in this game is because Dart's not necessarily a runner, like he's running quick, but he is effective in the run, and he can be effective in the run. We've seen him be effective in the run at times. So what LSU has to do in this game, again, and I'll say it almost every game, they have to be able to get pressure on the quarterback, and not just get pressure, but they have to be able to keep contained on him. If not, you're going to allow your secondary to have to cover for a very long time, and it's going to be a long Tigers. We know those almost can do, and Harris and in Watkins. So I think, again, to go back to what I started off with, I think that Lang will want to initially, you know, try to run the ball. But I think if they're not able to get push on the offensive, if they're not to get yardage in the run game, they're going to go to obviously Jackson Dart and hoping that he can make plays through the air on that secondary, and not only through the air, but with his feet if contain breaks. So guys, to follow all that up, do y'all believe that Lane tries to stick with the run early on, or do y'all believe he comes out kind of firing on, and it's just like, we're going to throw the ball because we know that that's where LSU's weakness is? Or do you think he tries to initially stick to the run? What do y'all think? I'll go first.
Yeah, I think we stick to the run. I mean, that's Lane kind of gets thrown in the pass offense type genre, but Ole Miss has led the SEC, or been top 2 in the SEC ever since he's been there and running. It all starts with the run. Our pass is basically, like Jesse said, it's an RPO. So we get everybody looking run, and then we dump it over your head, or we go deep. It's all based upon the run, and that was the struggle with Alabama. You can't run the football, you're not going to get comfortable and make those big plays. So I think he definitely sticks with the run.
I mean, it's the basis of y'all's offense. Like, if the run game's not going, the offense virtually isn't going, right?
Yep.
Jesse?
I think you're going to see some design quarterback runs, especially near the goal line and on 3rd downs.
Yeah.
You'll probably see 2 or 3 quarterback draws in there. He
Sure.
plays Jackson Dart is a similar quarterback to KJ Jefferson, a big build. He's not going to slide. He's going to get physical. He's going to try to get the extra yards. So I think that being at home, you see a quarterback being physical like that, you see a quarterback running, trying to run dudes over, it's going to get the crowd into it. So I think Lane is going to play off that energy, try to get the crowd into it early, maybe running Dart a little bit more than he normally would, because Dart will run really physical. So I think we'll try to get that going first thing off the bat there.
Reagan, your
Zach-
backs. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about. So far we've talked a lot about Ole Miss's offense against LSU's defense here. So let's kind of flip the side here, and let's look at LSU's offense against Ole Miss defense. I have been critical of the Ole Miss defense until I would say until last week. I mean, even though they lost, I felt like the defense played a great game. But against even against Mercer, now that was an absolute blowout. But even against Mercer, there were some questionable things for me with the defense, and against Tulane for sure. I saw there was some major flaws. I felt like most of the time it was communication issues in the secondary with especially against Tulane. It felt like there was a lot of blown coverage, and that's always a product of a miscommunication within the secondary, and that's probably a product of having so many transfers. And LSU struggles with the same thing. I don't think it's any secret. Jaden Daniels leads the SEC in passing games, and Malik Neighbors, as of right now, is number 2 in the SEC in receiving yards behind Leggett at South Carolina. But it is no secret what the two of them have been doing the past 2 weeks. What can Ole Miss do to stop it? What can they do to contain Jaden and Malik? And the issue with maybe even that is Arkansas tried to contain Malik and Jaden last week and really kind of double coveraged him. They would put the safety over the top for Malik, and it opened up Brian Thomas, and he ended up having a 130-yard game as well. So what can Ole Miss do defensively to contain the passing offense of LSU? And Jesse, if you're good to go, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I missed some of that, but I think I got the gist of it here. So, you saw last week when we were playing, Jalen Milroe, we can't let Jaden Daniels beat us with his legs, first of all. But like I texted you the other day during the LSU Arkansas game, I was like, I hope our slot corners come ready to play, because as soon as y'all get down in the red zone, get close to that end zone area, y'all are gonna put Malik Neighbors in that slot, do the slot fade. I've seen that 4 or 5 times out of you guys scoring touchdowns on it. So I hope we have something for that prepared, and we can't let Jaden Daniels beat us on the ground.
Dawson, what are your thoughts on the defense? I mean, what can they do? Do they? I mean, because Arkansas tried the double coverage, and it opened up for Brian Thomas. I mean, how do you account for that?
I don't know if you do. Ole Miss has been a bend don't break defense all year. So you're gonna. I mean, and everybody has. Mercer even did it. You're gonna move the ball from 20 to 20. For the 20s, you're gonna move the ball in Ole Miss. Where they've been really good is the red zone. So I am interested to see who wins that matchup down there. Just kind of the game between the game, who schemes it up and is able to score. But Ole Miss, I think, is going to try to probably match their best corner, DeAndre Prince, on Malik Neighbors as much as they can. He's been pretty locked down all year. He's one of our best corners. I think he's ranked on some places as a top 10 corner in college football right now. He's really playing well. So I think it's going to be a game of matchups, but we'll just see what happens, because if you move him, like you said, it may open up the other side. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. But I don't know if you're just Ole Miss defense is not going to be able to just completely. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I really do. But I think the red zone is somewhere to watch.
I don't think that how we did in Alabama against Alabama. I don't think we can allocate a single defender just to sit there and spy Jaden Daniels because he will kill you through the air.
No.
So
LSU
we have to come up with
more.
a very creative way to kind of keep him contained, keep him in the pocket. Because as soon as you play man coverage and all the defensive backs turn their backs, he's running for 20, 30 yards down the field.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can't afford to just have a spy sitting there every play like we did against Bama. So that's going to be interesting to see
I
how
do want to
Pete
ask you
Golding.
guys on LSU's offense, and I haven't watched that many games this year, but how's your run game? Because it seems like Tulane and Alabama were kind of able to line it up with us when they wanted and get a little physical and get 4 to 6, 7 yards to carry. So what's your running back? What's your run game looking like?
Answer that.
So when we've gone up against really good defensive lines, they've kept us in check on which really the only defensive line that has been able to physically match and or best our offensive line was Florida State. I mean, Florida State's defensive line, that NFL, defensive line, and they were able to really get push on us, and we were not really able to do a whole lot with the running game. As y'all know, well, maybe I don't know this, but there is crap running back at LSU right now. I think they had 9 scholarship guys, Reagan, that were on the roster currently, and a lot of them have a lot of different capabilities. Best back you're going to see for LSU is Logan Diggs. He transferred from Notre Dame, has a lot of experience. And he was out the first game against Florida State, dealing with a hamstring injury, a slight hamstring injury. So they had him out for that first game. He came in against Grambling, put up over 100 yards. He by far has been your best back for LSU. And somebody who has emerged as kind of that number 2 guy, which was a little surprising because me and Reagan early on, we did not predict that new freshman backs would see a lot of time because of how many guys are back there in that running back room. But Caleb Jackson, I might have the highlight of him sticking the state guy on the sideline. He has not just that highlight reel, but he has kind of emerged as their go-to number 2 back. You'll also see John Williams, who is the walk-on, I think like a fifth guy. He's kind of the guy that when you got to have somebody come in and do a phenomenal job pass blocking, or when you got to have somebody that you just really trust with the football, he's that guy. You really those 3. Yeah, I'm sure y'all know John Emery as well. You'll see him rotating a little bit. Outside of that, I mean, there is a lot of guys. You might see Noah Kane, but it's been a running back by committee, sure. With Logan Diggs and Caleb Jackson kind of heading up midi. You will definitely see Logan Diggs get the bulk of the carry, and then you'll see Caleb Jackson and Josh Williams come in with fresh legs whenever they need to. I am interested to see how LSU's offensive line does against this Ole Miss defensive front to see if they can get push. I believe they will, but I think this is the second best defensive line that we've seen aside of Florida State. So it'll be interesting because you didn't look good against Florida State. How good are you going to look against Rebels? So I guess and you can kind of input, and then I'll lead, and then after you input, I'd like to ask Dawson and Jesse, how is the defensive front for Ole Miss since y'all been watching it? But I can go ahead and put it up and then to them.
Yeah, I'll disagree, Zach, with you just a little bit. The only game that our running game was considered in check was the Florida State game, and Logan Diggs didn't run the ball. Since Logan Diggs has been in, I wouldn't say anybody held our run game in check. As of right now, we're one of the best rushing teams in the SEC because of Logan Diggs. And this past Saturday, Arkansas's defensive line is no joke. It is very veteran. They had an all-SEC transfer from in Missouri. They have landed Jackson, who's now a third-year guy there. And, I mean, they're very veteran. And Jeff Coate, a big veteran defensive line. And Logan Diggs ran for 97 yards. And Caleb Jackson, I think, had another 30-something. So, I mean, we rushed for well over 100 yards, almost 200 yards in that game. And Logan Diggs essentially, every time you gave the ball to Logan Diggs, he essentially did what he wanted with the ball. So I disagree slightly with keeping us in check. I think that our running game has been a pretty pleasant surprise. I did not think it was going to be as successful as it has been, and I think it's solely because of Logan Diggs and Caleb Jackson. I mean, they have been phenomenal. If they give the ball more to Logan Diggs, which I think they should. I know they have a lot of running backs and they want to keep fresh legs in there, but if they handed the ball off to Logan Diggs like
20 plus time,
like the dude would be over 100 yards every single game and probably have a touchdown every game. I think they have kind of held him in check themselves by their own play calling. So I'd like to see them give him the ball more because every time it feels like every time you give that man the ball, he's getting 5 yards. Like every time he averaged 6.9 yards a carry against the ball.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he carried the ball 4 times and he had like a break off run. He carried the ball for over 10 carries and averaged 6.9 a carry. Like he was very dominant when they handed him the ball. So I want to see him get the ball more. But that's my thought on the run game.
So Dawson, Jesse, in mentioning the run game, what is the front 7 for Ole Miss like? Dawson, you can take this first.
Yeah, I think, like I said, they've been pretty strong. It seems like just when they get worn down in the second half, people are really able to line up physically and get 5-6 yards to carry. They've been pretty good in the first half of games, and then they get tired. I don't know how much depth we have on the defensive line. I know we got a few guys.
Is there a little bit of a lack?
Yeah, I think there is. Just I think the numbers are there. I just don't know how much trust Pete Golding has in some of his transfers that come in. He hasn't known them very long, so I think he's kind of rotating the same guys in. It seems like so.
Jesse.
So just kind of playing off what Dawson was saying with the depth. So I think that we have a bunch of guys, a collection of guys that their styles don't really mesh together that well. So like on the edge, we have a bunch of like athletic defensive linemen that are, better suited to play sideline to sideline rather than, if y'all are running between the tackles, we have players that can do that. As soon as we get into that set, y'all are going to kill it like Mason Thomas, or what's his name? Tight end?
Mason Taylor.
Yeah, Mason Taylor. Yeah, y'all. I think he will probably have a big game against us. If we line up in our heavy set, y'all get in y'all's heavy set. I think I don't know if our linebackers other than Perkins could, hang with him. So, but back to the running game, I don't think that we have the rotation. If y'all are just going to try to, impose the will against us between the tackles, I don't know if we could sustain a full game. So our offense has to possess the ball in order to, be effective against you guys' running game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's kind of Ole Miss's key to success here is keeping the ball out of LSU's hands as much as possible and scoring as many points as they can. If they can pull something off like that, like get a couple turnovers in the first half and jump out, like a 17-point lead, I think it's going to be really tough for LSU. Obviously, if that happens and transpires in the second half, I think Ole Miss will win the game. And we talked about that a little bit, like the early starts, the fast starts for Ole Miss, and it seems to kind of peter out. How do you change that, Jesse?
So you'll see against the inferior opponents, like when we were playing Tulane, Georgia Tech, they were kind of hanging with us a little bit longer than they should have maybe. And then you see at the very end, we just kind of outplayed them. Our talent just kind of took us to the next level.
Yeah.
Our players are just better, but we're not going to have that here. Our players aren't just better than y'all. So I think, we can't turn the ball over. And as much as we like to go tempo, if we're not scoring off that tempo, you're just killing your defense. You can't have a 1-minute drive that you get 15 yards, you get 2 first downs and you go for it on 4th down and don't get it or punt the ball away. it does your defense no good.
Yeah.
So I think we have to possess the ball or score fast. One of the two. You can't have what we've been doing and not possessing the ball and not scoring.
Yeah.
We can't have, we have to finish games, and we haven't been.
Yeah. Dawson, you have any thoughts there?
No, I mean basically just exactly what Jesse said. I think we're gonna have to. It's kind of weird for Ole Miss to say we need to control time of possession better because our offense goes so fast, but it's something we're gonna have to do to win this game.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we'll get y'all out of here right after. We want to get your score predictions.
Final score predictions.
Get out of here. Appreciate your time. Appreciate y'all coming on here and discussing the game. Dawson, what are your final predictions for the game?
I think I'm going tie ball game at halftime, 17-17. Ole Miss gets a big turnover at the end of the game, 34-28 Rebels.
Wow. 34-28 Rebels. Okay. Jesse, what's your thought?
I don't think it'll be that high scoring. I think, I don't have this big prediction of how it's going to go. I just 28-27 Rebels, and we're rushing the field, baby.
Ooh.
Rushing the field. We would just stand there and watch y'all.
I'll record y'all from
No,
the
I
field.
think rush with them. I think
Don't leave. We need a ride back, so do not leave.
Oh,
awesome.
all right, guys. Appreciate y'all coming on. Appreciate y'all giving us your time and your predictions and your analysis for the game. We'll see y'all here in a couple days, and we'll be headed to Oxford here soon.
Yes, sir. Hotty toddy.
Thank y'all for having us. Hotty toddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
All right, Zach.
Hey, Ray, fun.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that was fun. I enjoyed it. Even though our internet and your computer is deciding to be a little little crazy here, that's okay.
Yeah, computer went in straight lockdown mode. I literally couldn't do anything on it. I have no idea what happened.
Mine's trash. Your computer trash. I feel like we might need to upgrade a little bit or something going.
So you need to get off that Spectrum. They be talking about that Spectrum internet.
I know. Regular quick break and come back. We can kind of wrap up a little bit of and kind of give more deep thoughts into our tools for success.
Yep.
I did a tool triumph. And then, of course, we'll go around college football, look at there is some massive games this week in college football. Some games I'm very interested to see. So we'll get to all right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Right back at
Ryan,
it. Tigers Avenue. Go ahead, Zach.
Go. Ryan said, "Get a GoFundMe for y'all to get better service CPUs."
Yes, that would be nice.
Yeah, we typically don't have a whole lot of issues, but these last two shows have been an experience. Yeah, it's been a rough. I went back and listened to our show from last time, and I think you heard about every 2/3 of what I said.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. It just we're making it work. We're making it work, though. We're making it work. We appreciate y'all hanging in there with us and
Sure.
and dealing with all the technical difficulties. I really don't know what happened to my computer. That has never happened before. So it's
you dropped out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you, like, hey, is something wrong? And I knew something was wrong. So it is what it is. All right, Zach, kind of what are your thoughts here, your final thoughts for the game? What does LSU need to do good and to come out with a W in Oxford. We didn't really talk about that much. We're in Oxford, so that's going to be a challenge on the road in the SEC as always. What do we need to do well on the road here so we can walk away from this with a W?
I'm excited to go to this game. The last time you went to Oxford in 2019. The last time I was in Oxford to watch an LSU Ole Miss game was 2000 and 2007. It was 2007. It was a national championship year.
What? You were there in
Yes.
2019?
No, I was not. I was at home. I was back in Arkansas. That was you, Justin, Sarah, and Dad. And I'm upset because y'all didn't invite me, but it was kind of a last minute thing that y'all did. So
we literally decided to do it 2 hours before the game. So,
understandable, totally understandable. So, the last time that I was there was 2007. You had Trent Holiday run back a kickoff return. You had Craig Stelz have a really big interception. I want to say he more than one interception. I can't remember exactly, but either way, he might have had two. I can't remember. That was a long time ago. Either way, excited to go back. I'm excited to spend time and get to go with some friends, people I work with, obviously you, friends that I'm close with. So I'm excited to get to go to Oxford, experience Oxford, that I'm grown and I can experience it a little bit more and remember it a little bit better. I'm excited to go and do that on Saturday. But I really hope that LSU can show out. As you mentioned, it's going to be a raucous environment. Ole Miss always packs the house when LSU in town, and it's going to be different here. I really think that they're going to come out firing on all cylinders. I think they are going to be very hyped up for this game, especially coming off the loss to Alabama last week. I think they're going to come out with something to prove, and I think it's going to be a really, really tight battle. I said we didn't give our score predictions. We got Jesse's and Dawson's, but I'll go ahead and get on here. I think it's going to be extremely tight, but I think LSU wins 27-24. The over/under right now is 67. I don't necessarily see it getting there. Dawson mentioned, how good Ole Miss's defense has been in the red zone, and LSU's defense, although it is mightily struggled, it has been better in the red zone as well. We saw that firsthand last week. And so I think teams are going to be able to, as Dawson said, 20-20. Teams are going to be able to drive. Both these teams are going to be able to drive on each other. I think it's going to come down to who can punch it in the red zone the most. I think overall it's offense. I trust LSU's offense more than I do Ole Miss, and that's not me trying to be biased. That's because I've watched this Ole Miss offense and I've watched this LSU offense, and I have a little bit more faith in our offense. If this is Baton Rouge, I don't think it's as. I think it's probably a 10 to 14 point touchdown win, but I wouldn't be. I honestly would not be surprised if Ole Miss won this game. Early on in the season, I had predicted LSU to lose this game, but now that I've watched a few games, I'm pretty confident in LSU to win this game. I hope that I'm right on that. I really do. But I would not be surprised at all if Ole Miss wins this game. And I want to say this before it happens. If LSU loses this game, we're still not out of it. We're still not out of it for the SEC West because obviously Ole Miss just took a loss to Alabama. If you take a loss to Ole Miss on the road and then you go and you beat you win all of your other home games, you beat Bama on the road, you beat Missouri on the road, you win all of the rest of your remaining SEC games, you have a very good shot to still win the West. It'll be SEC in Atlanta in the SEC championship. Because Ole Miss has a tough road ahead of this. They have to face Georgia, in Athens. They still have to face A&M, who's looked really good. They have to, they have to play State, who that game is always close. So it's not like if you lose this game to Ole Miss, well, the season's over. We're not going to win the West. Not at all. This could be one of the areas that you drop. It could very easily be one of the games. This is, in my opinion, I don't know. Maybe Bama. We'll see. Bama looked a lot better last week. This is definitely out of the remaining games on the schedule. This is between Bama. This is one of the tough. So, in my opinion, it's between this game and on the road at Bama. I'm leaning more towards on the road at Bama, but this is one of the toughest games you have left on the schedule. If you're able to win this game and get through it and go to Oxford, win on the road, I think it is going to do. It's going to pay off. Like, it's going to pay off down the line as you face these other opponents winning this game. I think it's going to be a little bit of a weight. Not that you still have to stay focused. You still have to play Missouri. You still got to play Florida. You still got to play all these other Auburn at home, A&M at home. You still got to play all these other teams, and you still have to get up for those games. You still have to prepare for those games. But I think winning this game on the road at Oxford, at least to me as a fan, it would be a weight lift at all, getting past this part of the schedule. So we'll see, Reagan. Like I said, I'm confident, but I would not be surprised at all if they trip up here.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to agree with you. I think this is one of those games where you could be tripped up. And I will say this, I don't care how, again, I will remind y'all from last week, I don't care how we win the game. I just want to win the game. I don't care if we win by 1 point. I don't care if we have to kick a field goal to win the game by 1 point with 2 seconds left on the clock and we're down by 2. I don't care. If you win the game in Oxford and you come home with a W, it's a huge deal. It's huge.
For sure.
This has big-time SEC West implications in this game. Come in here and find a way to win. Come in here and figure out what it's going to take to win this game and come home with a W. And it's going to be a huge win for LSU if they can do so. Honestly, I don't think Ole Miss is capable of holding LSU under 30 points. I don't think they're capable of doing it. They score.
Okay.
I want to say this now. I'm not saying that we're going to blow them out because of that. That's not what I'm saying at all. Ole Miss could be matching a score for score, just like Arkansas was doing. They score very fast. They move efficiently. But for me, Ole Miss is going to have to score like 32 points to win this game, and that's just my opinion. I don't 35. Think right. I don't think that Ole Miss is defensively solid enough. I don't know if they have the depth enough to hold this team to like 24 points. I just don't see that happening at all. I think we're going to score over 30 points, and I think Ole Miss is going to have to score like 35 points to win this game, 32 points to win this game. If they're scoring really fast and we're scoring really fast, I don't know how that'll play out. But I think ultimately LSU imposes their will through Logan Diggs. I just don't. I understand they have a lot of running backs, but Logan Diggs can do a world of hurt to a team. And at times they have utilized him to do that. I would like to see them do it against opponents like Ole Miss. They did it against Grambling. It was late in the game. LSU had taken a lead, a substantial lead, and they literally gave the ball to Logan Diggs like every play against Grambling.
Every play. I remember that drive. Yes. I remember that drive.
It was a grueling drive.
I think every play.
Yes.
Except for the touchdown, I think.
He scored the touchdown. It was his touchdown. Yeah. And they drained the clock. We imposed our will. Logan Diggs forced his way every time. Every carry was like 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. Like, Logan Diggs was doing that against Arkansas. We need to be utilizing that talent, and I just don't feel like we have utilized it enough. If I think if you get to the second half and it's like back and forth, let's say it's early fourth quarter, Zach, and it's tied 24-24. Let's say we get the ball, we score a touchdown, it's 31-24. If you get a stop at that point, if you're up a touchdown and get the ball back after stopping them, I'm giving the ball to Logan Diggs until they stop him. Like
That's a good point.
I am breaking their back until they can stop Logan Diggs. I am forcing the hand and imposing the will because I think he's just that kind of guy. He's shown he
And
is.
if you do that and you're having success, it's going to open up the opportunity for a play action to potentially put the coffin you're in the scenario you're mentioning.
Yes, yeah. If you could do that, and then you're imposing your will, and they're just they can't stop Logan. They can't stop Logan. Then you run a play action, and let's say you hit Brian Thomas for a 30-yard touchdown, and you go up 14 points. That's a backbreaker. That's a backbreaker. You're going to take the wind out of the entire stadium. I feel like they need to tap into Logan Diggs more than they have been. I mean, that dude. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm seeing something that maybe I'm just crazy, but it feels like every time he touches the ball, there's always something extra. It is always more. He is patient. If you watch him run the ball, he's patient for the crease to open, and when the crease opens, he hits it hard, man, and he hits it fast, and he gets. He puts you in plus territory every time. If you give the ball to Logan Diggs on first down, like you're looking at 2nd and 4 or shorter just about every time. He is such a weapon, and we've got to use him more often.
At the game, Arkansas, Reagan, there was a drive where you mentioned he's patient, he waits for the crease. There was a drive where the LSU offense was coming towards our end zone. We were in section 419, so it's the purple painted end zone. They were driving towards our end zone, and there was a play exactly like you mentioned, Reagan. Offense, the push, there isn't really a crease there. Logan is he's waiting behind the offensive line, and then about a 2-foot crease opens up, and he hammers it, and he goes head first. And I think he ended up getting like 3 or 4 yards that play. It's nothing, and then a little crease opened up, and he hit it hard and was able to gain 3 or 4 yards that play. So, I mean, you mentioned that, and I can specifically remember a play from Arkansas that exact thing happened. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think that could really play a huge part in this game, and we'll see. My final prediction, you said 28-24. I don't think
7-24.
Okay. I don't think Ole Miss can hold LSU under 30 points. I think LSU wins.
Before you give your prediction, let me ask you this, okay? Is Arkansas's offense better than Ole Miss's offense?
I think KJ Jefferson is a mismatch problem. Now, look, I'll give it to Jesse. He said that Jackson Dart is a physical runner, and he is. He's not wrong when he says that. But Jackson Dart does not have the size that KJ Jefferson does. It is just Jackson Dart ain't 250 pounds. KJ is a mismatch problem. Everybody in the world knows it, and it caused our defense issues. It caused us to miss assignments, to come out of assignments. Everybody knows the play with Haas that went. Zai got his eyes in the backfield, got nervous when KJ rolled out. He checked up a little bit. Haas slipped behind him, and he was wide open, for the touchdown. Yeah. We got to not do that. But at the same time, I don't think Jackson Dart brings that kind of threat that KJ does. Therefore, I think it's not as nail-biting close. And here's another thing that I feel like Brian Kelly has mentioned that we haven't talked about is he feels like when we go on the road, they're a little bit more focused.
Yeah. I heard that in this one of his
yes,
conferences.
they have to ride the bus. They're in the hotel. They're with the team. They're zoned in. When you're home, you got the fanfare and you got the walk and you got tickets for your parents and you're going to eat after the game. Where are you going to go eat after the game with your parents and like all of these things are extracurricular.
It's way more laid back.
And boy, against State, it felt like we were locked in, and I feel like we may tap into that again in Oxford. I think LSU wins the game. I think LSU wins the game 35 to 24. 35-24.
We both think Ole Miss is scoring 24. You just think LSU is going to have a little bit more success than I do. I hope you're right. I definitely hope you're right. All right, Reagan, I think we need to take maybe one more break, and then we come back. We're going to do some quick hits on some big games this weekend, and then we will wrap up the show. So we'll be right back after this.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right, right back.
All right, we're back.
Avenue. We keep doing it.
I know we're having technical difficulties. I have issue hearing you. You're having issue hearing me. It's all good. Hopefully on Monday, all things technically are correct. So guys, we do apologize for that. I hate that when having Jesse and Dawson on that we had that issue, but overall been a pretty good show so far. All right, Reagan, let's hit it quick and then we can wrap up. All right, so tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Utah travels to Oregon State. Oregon State is actually favored in this game. They're a 4.5-point favorite.
Wow.
Do you see this game going as the way as Vegas sees it, or do you think Utah stays undefeated?
You said they're going to Oregon State?
Oregon State is a 4.5-point favorite.
Okay. I'm going to say Vegas is wrong. I think Utah wins the game. But being at Oregon State, maybe it's really close, but I think Utah's the better team, especially with Cam Rising.
I agree.
I think Utah will win it.
I agree with you there. I do believe Vegas is wrong. I think you wins this game. Especially if you're a betting person, bet the points. Bet the plus. We've already went over LSU, Ole Miss, obviously. USC, Colorado got the brakes beaten off of them last week. Do you see more of the same this week? They're at home.
I think it'll be a little bit closer than what happened at Oregon. But again, I think it's a bit of a blowout. But I don't think you'll see a repeat of what happened at Oregon. I mean, Oregon just.
Well, USC is a 21.5-point favorite. Do you think they cover or no?
I think
USC.
I think they do cover. I think Colorado scored more points. I don't think it's close, but I think they score more than what they did at Oregon. They had that little piddly touchdown towards the end of the game, and it was like crap time, and so
yeah. So I think that Colorado covers. I think this is close. I think Colorado was humbled a little bit. And understand, you're down Travis Hunter. But they're back at home. Caleb Williams coming to town, 10 team. And I think that USC wins. I think it's more of a 17 to 20 point victory for USC. So still a sizable win, but I think the 21.5 a little for me, considering back at home in Colorado, probably wanting to prove a little bit something after the they gave last week. This is a big one in the SEC that I'm interested to see. Kentucky defeated Reagan, but they host number 22 Florida. They're a 1-point favorite. How do you see this game going? This is a tough one for me.
Yeah, this one is hard because, man, Florida looked horrible against Utah, and they looked really good against Tennessee. And
I
Kentucky
know.
just hasn't looked that great in general, but haven't really been tested. So I don't know. Like, I don't really know who to go with here. My gut wants to say Kentucky, but I would not be surprised at all if Florida wins that game.
My gut also tells me Kentucky, so I'm going Kentucky. I think he just sucks playing in the swamp. And I think Tennessee's not as good as they are. I still think Florida's not that great of a team. I say that, and then they'll end up beating them like that. I think Kentucky wins a very close one. Georgia is going to Auburn. I think Georgia is going to put a lot of points against Auburn. They
Really?
can't score, man. Auburn just can't score. I think they need to go to Robbie Ashford, and then I think they need to stick to him. I don't think Peyton Thorne is good.
Oh, I mean, I got to watch some of the A&M game, but I didn't get to watch the end of how it played out and when they put in Robbie Ashford and stuff. So I mean, obviously I'm gonna pick Georgia, but I'm not that high on Georgia, but I'll take Georgia to win. I just don't think Georgia who they have been under Beck compared to with Stetson, but I do think Georgia wins this game pretty handily.
Handful of games here left, and then we're up. Does Kansas keep it close with Texas on the road at Texas?
Yeah,
Texas
sure.
is a 16.5-point favorite.
16.5-point favorite. Okay.
16.
I would say that Texas does not cover. But I think Texas wins though.
All right. I think this wins. I think they do cover though. I'm a little bit opposite on that with you. Notre Dame, after a heartbreaking loss to Ohio State, which we watched, which me and Logan watched. We were following an LSU fan who on his phone. We just following him, watching the game with him as that game ended. Heartbreaking loss for Notre Dame. Can't say I am feeling bad for them. Anyways, they go to Duke and are a 5.5-point favorite. I think Notre Dame bounced back and gets the win here.
Yeah, give me Notre Dame for sure. College game day, by the way, first time going to Duke.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, give me Duke. I mean, give me Notre Dame to beat Duke.
Yeah, give me Notre Dame. Two more and then we're done. South Carolina travels to Tennessee. South Carolina had a pretty good game last week against State. Tennessee, obviously, winning the Swamp bounce back last week against an inferior opponent. How do you see South Carolina, Tennessee going? I think this is close, and I actually, my gut wants to pick South Carolina. I'll be honest with you. My gut wants to pick South Carolina. So I'm gonna go with my gut and pick South Carolina, even though it's on the road in Rocky Top.
This game, I'm going to take the home team and solely because it's the home team. If it was at South Carolina, I'd pick South Carolina. Spencer Rattler has been solid, but the team around him just hasn't been. And I would say the same for Joe Milton, but I like Spencer Rattler better than Joe Milton. Really, because it's in Knoxville, I'll take Tennessee. But I like Spencer Rattler and the way he's been playing better than Joe Milton. So, yeah.
Last one, and then we wrap up. A&M and Arkansas in Jerry World. A&M's a 6-point favorite. 11 a.m. Seems like A&M always gets the best of Arkansas in name. Weigman out for the year. It's going to be Max Johnson's team. He came in and really sparked that team to win the last game, and they looked really good with Max Johnson. Does Texas win this game? Arkansas can score now.
Man,
this one's tough.
I want to pick.
This is about as tough as.
Yeah, I want to pick Arkansas just because of how they played us, but Arkansas always plays us that way, and I don't think they'll play A&M that way. I don't think they'll play A&M the way that they played against us. I think A&M wins. I think Max Johnson's going to prove that he was the better quarterback the whole time.
Give me the Piggies. I'm going with the Piggies. I'm
Wow.
sticking with
I'll be happy
my
for
Hogs.
because I hate A&M.
You know, I love LSU and obviously LSU hard, but I kind of root for the Hogs on the side a little bit. I was there for many years, a handful of years, and so I kind of have a little bit of a heart for the Hogs. And I have so many friends that have been Hog fans, and they've been so heartbroken over, just their team not being the best throughout the year. And heartbroken baseball. I mean, my heart kind of hurts for them, and Hogs fan. And I hate. I mean, I'm happy for Max Johnson, but I hate A&M. So
Yeah, I do too.
Arkansas.
All right,
Reagan.
Zach. I think that's all we got for tonight. Ryan, man, you've been faithful in here commenting. Zach, he's been commenting.
The crappy internet and all.
He's hung with us with the technical difficulties and all. Ryan, tip of the cap to you. Appreciate you, brother, in here commenting. The Johnson show. Yeah, that. I will say this. That was really cool to see. Zach, as brothers, like that is a moment they'll never forget. That was really cool. I was happy for the two.
I need my boy Reagan to come down and play some football, so I got that quarterback tight end connection.
There you go.
Like they got.
Yeah, right, for sure. But yeah, I will say that was cool for them. But I hate A&M, so I would be glad to see Arkansas win. Appreciate it. We'll cover it all this coming Monday. Recap the weekend. We'll be in Oxford, so we're pretty excited about that to watch the game. And we'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. Appreciate y'all hanging in there through all the difficulties and whatnot. Y'all are fantastic. But we'll see you next time. Hopefully everything will be better and run smoothly. 5-star hero, take us out. Peace.
Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star?